If you'd like to add some recessed lighting to your already existing ceiling, or if you're doing a full remodel like this kitchen here is, and you want to add recessed lighting, to do it correctly you need to do a little math. You need to know your ceiling height, you need to find out your beam diameter of the lights you're putting in, and then we can calculate the spacing between the lights so that you get adequate lighting on the floor and wind up with no dark spots. So let's go do a little math and we'll figure it out. So I like to use graph paper when trying to calculate this. Now I'm using a 4-inch recessed light. I have an 8-foot ceiling height, and I know that that's going to give me a 6-foot diameter beam of light when it hits the floor. So if I put the lights 6 feet apart, center to center, you can see you're going to have a lot of darkness right here and right here. So the lights you buy, they should have a graph inside them, and it should be able to tell you whether you have 8, 10, 12-foot ceiling heights, what the diameter of the beam will be when it hits the floor. If not, there's an online calculator. You put in your ceiling height and the beam angle of the light, which it might be 80-degree beam angle, and then it will tell you the diameter of the light when it hits the floor. That's the two most important things you're going to need: ceiling height, beam diameter at the floor. So I drew this up on graph paper and I calculated out that each one of these lines is 5 inches. That gives me 72 inches across. So once you have that figured out, you can redraw your circles in order to get enough overlap to get rid of most of this dark area right here. So what I figured out, if you have this line here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 5 is 20 inches. So 20 inches minus the 72 center to center gives me about 52, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go 50 inches center to center on my ceiling lights. Now, just for general reference, any ceiling over 8 feet in height, I usually go with a 6-inch diameter recessed light and then make all your calculations off of that. But you're going to want light overlap to get rid of this dark area. And out towards the edges of the light, realize that you do lose maybe around 30% of the actual intensity is that you have in the center. So once you figure out your center to center, what you want, and like I said, 50 inches is just a hair less than the 20 that I calculated on this graph paper, I can pretty much guarantee that I'm not going to have any dark spots on the floor. So now I'll go upstairs and I'll show you how I laid the lights out before you drill any holes and save yourself a lot of headache. Okay, so once you've figured out exactly what you want your center to center of your lights to be, in my case it's 50 inches for the ceiling height I have and the lights I'm using, I like to make templates out of paper plates. This is a standard paper plate, and if you look at it, this little inset right in here, I cut this out with a pair of scissors. It measures about 5 inches in diameter, and it gives me a great visual to put these up on the ceiling. If you're putting it, if your ceiling's already finished, just put some double-sided tape on the back of here and stick the lights up where you think you might want them. Now once you think you got them in the right spot, and if you have time and a little patience, I usually wait a day. Walk through the room a couple times, come home from work and take a look at them. Because a lot of times the next day or the day after you think, you know what, I'd like to move that light over here just a little bit. So if you're doing a full remodel like this, I usually just take a little drywall screw or a little small nail and I'll just tap it right into one of the wood pieces on the ceiling somewhere. Now you want to start out, this is the kind of the middle of the house room. So kind of start out where you know you want some light. And then you're going to do your 50 inches off center to center, move them around where you think. And then like I said, if you got the time, wait a day, because I guarantee you're probably going to move one. Now if you're starting at a room at the end of the house, like the living room way down there, it's easy to start off with one wall and work your way, into the other room. You just come 50 inches off of the wall, 50 inches off of here, boom, you're done. It's all nice and centered, and you're probably not going to ever change it. But if you are doing a room in the middle of the house, it's nice to move these around like this, because it depends on which way you come in from the garage or the other living room or the hallway or coming up from the basement. It gives you all the different kind of angles as you do this over a day or two, and it's very easy to move these around. Like I said, if you already have a finished ceiling and you use the double-sided tape, it's easy just to pull it off, put a new piece of tape on, stick it back up, and go from there. Like I said, the easiest thing for me, standard side paper plate, cut this out, and start putting them up. So we'll take a look and I'll show you what I've got. So as you see, I have all my paper plate templates tacked to the ceiling. They're exactly where we want them now. We moved a couple of them around. It's very easy to move around. And my next step is going to be to run the wiring to each light. But as a general rule of thumb, since this is a kitchen, a lot of mistakes people make is they put the lights too close to their kitchen cabinets. And what I'm talking about is, like your upper kitchen cabinets, they might put a light like, 12 inches away from the face of it. Well, that's going to cast the light down to about the center of the cabinet, and then underneath the cabinet is going to be a dark spot. So as a general rule of thumb, I like to put my lights at least 36 inches out from the wall, if not 40 inches, so that the light comes down and actually it will light up underneath your cabinets. You won't have dark spots underneath your cabinets. And that's 36 inches minimum. About 40, 42 out seems to work well, even with some of the tall kitchen cabinets. So I hope this video is informative for you. I hope you learned something. I hope you make good choices on putting your recessed lighting in, and you don't have to cut a hole and patch a hole. Using the templates seems to work pretty well for me. And I thank you guys for watching the video.